now confirmed there's been a ramming attack in the Maccabim checkpoint. This is now on the Route 443 route, the highway that goes from Modi'in to Jerusalem. We're getting word into the I-24 news desk that at least 3 pedestrians were hit by some sort of by a vehicle at this checkpoint. That medics and paramedics were there at the scene. They have 3 people. They rushed to the hospital. They're about to be in their 20s, it looks like. 2 of whom are in serious condition. There's 1 that's in mild condition. Again, this is the Route 443. For many of you who visit Israel, you know, there's 2 major highways. First, let me bring in Owen Alterman, our senior correspondent here. He can help me with this. So many of our tourists or many people around the world who come visit Israel know there's 2 general highways to go from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. There's Route 1 and there's Route 443 that a lot of people use as like the back road because of the highway, the freeway traffic. So this 443 goes through an area that has this checkpoint. Right.
Yeah, first of all, you're absolutely right to start with the geography, Albert, because even though this is formally speaking in the West Bank, as best we understand it, or we should be more specific, the border, if you will, between the West Bank and Israel proper, it's not deep in the West Bank, right? This isn't Hawara. These aren't the parts of the northern West Bank where we've seen such a huge surge in terrorism and in attacks in recent months. It's not in Nablus, right, where the incident was overnight last night. This is on the borderline, if you will, the seam between the West Bank and Israel proper, in an area where many Israelis who live within the Green Line, right, travel through on the way to Jerusalem. You're right, one of the 2 main ways to Jerusalem, and really the only way, if you will, to Jerusalem from Modi'in, a major center for the Israeli middle class, a town, a bedroom community located halfway between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Itself, of course, within the Green Line, not in the West Bank, but this is the checkpoint along the road from Modi'in into Jerusalem, right near where Modi'in sits. So this is not deep in the West Bank. It's on the border between the West Bank and Israel proper, an area frequented by many middle Israelis, if you will, who live within the Green Line, and that may make it different from the sites of other attacks in recent months, at least in large part.
We're getting some video right now into the I-24 news desk. You're taking a look right now. This is the scene from the area. These are emergency vehicles, emergency medical technicians working on the people who were attacked by this ramming attack. Now, they were pedestrians. We're told that they are in their 20s, that there's been 3 injuries. There's been 2 severely injured, 1 light injured. We should let everyone know that we're getting word into the I-24 news desk now that the terrorist has been neutralized. What that exactly means, we're not sure, whether they've been just shot or whether they have been killed there. Presumably by the term neutralized, they are dead. This ramming attack occurred. Now, remember, this is the day after another attack that occurred with an IED being thrown at IDF soldiers in Nablus. There was an attack at the light rail yesterday. So again, we had talked about this a few moments ago, that these are little incidences that occur, not a coordinated, as far as we know, not a coordinated attack.
Right. Again, we still have to learn more about who this attacker was, Albert, before we make conclusions. But just obviously those pictures, sadly, very familiar to us in Israel. Our emergency services have become used to responding to incidents like this. And also, we have to say, getting the information out very quickly to the media so that we're able to get the facts relatively quickly, as we have been here as well. As for the fact that these were pedestrians, again, we have to learn a little bit more about how this happened and who these people were.
Whether it was a bus stop. There's bus stops.
But exactly what I wanted to say, right? Even though this is a main highway, there often are bus stops on the side of the road, often particularly deeper in the West Bank, protected, right, from exactly this kind of attack by some kind of barrier. But it is common to get on buses or deeper inside the West Bank to hitchhike. So presumably, although again, we don't know yet, these are people waiting for a bus or waiting for a ride, and were sadly attacked by this attacker.
Now, I remember this happened many times back, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, these kind of attacks would occur. And then that spate of time, that seemed to have gone away for a while, this idea of ramming attacks at bus stops.
Well, listen, first of all, of course, there's no comparison to what happened in the Second Intifada, right, around the turn of the century. I mean, those of us who lived through that, right, of our generation, either here in Israel or outside, understand the differences between what happened then and what's happening now. For example, on Route 443, Albert, I believe early in the Second Intifada, there were shootings at cars on that roadway, something we really haven't seen in the current surge of attacks. In the Second Intifada was also, the tactics were somewhat different, and it has to be said, much more deadly than the tactics here. But ramming attacks at bus stops has been a hallmark of the kinds of attacks we've seen over the course of the last number of years. Sadly, now it seems including this one.
Great. So let's bring our viewers up to speed as to what's happening. There has been a ramming attack in the Maccabim checkpoint. There have been 3 people who are injured. There were 2 seriously injured, 1 lightly injured. This is on the Route 443. We're now getting some more video into the I-24 news desk showing the scene itself. This is the route that is the back road, if you will, like from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. This is not the main freeway, not the main Route 1 freeway, but the back road 443. This attack happened about 20 minutes ago. We got first words into the I-24 news desk. We're going to have more details as soon as we can throughout the morning.